With more than 100 years of experience, Mitas is one of Europe's leading motorcycle tyre brands. Whether you ride on the trails, enduro, on the road or on adventures, Mitas have the tyres for you. If they're good enough for the likes of Chris Birch and Paul Tarris, they're good enough for me and our Noel. For more information, go to mitas-moto.com. Go the distance with Mitas tyres. Hello and welcome to the Trail and Adventure Motorbike Podcast with me, Clive Barber. For the days when you can't ride your bike, there's always the Trail and Adventure Motorbike Podcast. Hello everybody, welcome back. Slightly different kind of episode this week. Do you ever wish you were fitter, stronger, faster? I certainly do, and this week we've got just the man to tell you how to do all of those things. I'm delighted to be joined by James White of We Are Full Gas. James is a bike specialist fitness instructor. He works with some of the best UK superbike riders, trials riders, enduro riders, and he's a top bloke, really nice guy. He's my new best friend. I think you'll find this episode quite helpful. I've already downloaded his mobility guide and I am going to do those exercises at some point on a regular basis, obviously, because I do need to be more flexible. Anyway, that's enough for me whittering on. Let's get on with it, shall we? It only occurred to me, after you messaged me at the end of last year, that'd be a really interesting podcast.
I've followed you guys for a long time, so when you invited me on, I was skipping around. I was all up for it.
I think it should be a really interesting conversation. I think there'll be a lot of people quite interested in this stuff. Whereabouts are you? Sounds like you're from sort of Derby kind of way.
I'm from Derbyshire. I live about 20 minutes from Matlock Bath. I use Matlock Bath as a reference point because everybody knows, in bike worlds, knows Matlock Bath. So yeah, I live about 20 minutes from Matlock Bath and I'm in my office at work. I own a gym. That's my sort of full-time gig, a commercial gym. So this is kind of the only job I've ever done. I use this equipment to sort of make videos, but also with the coaching side of things, you make a lot of content, talking to people, explaining things. So I wanted to do a nice professional job of it. So coming quite handy. The YouTube stuff, I started that a few years ago because I wanted to, really. Weirdly, I didn't watch much YouTube stuff of people specifically in the bike space. And I thought nobody did it. So I was like, well, I've seen this guy do it and he's actually quite shit. So I think I can do a better job than this guy. I started doing this stuff, but I don't take it very seriously, to be honest. It's a channel called James Rides Bikes and it is literally just that. I do enjoy doing it. It's a good laugh. So my name's James White. I'm a gym owner, personal trainer, and I specifically work with motorcycle riders to make them faster, fitter and stronger under the name of We Are Full Gas.
That's a good name. How did you come up with that?
I don't know is the answer. I think afterwards I've subconsciously looked at Gas and Fuji Gas, the Japanese trials rider, and I think it's just somehow made its way in and it became that. And I asked a mate of mine who's super judgmental if he liked the name, and he did, so that was fine. That'll do it.
We Are Full Gas. But you're something slightly different on YouTube, aren't you? You're James Rides Bikes on YouTube, which is more your own personal channel.
My real world is fitness. It's always been fitness since I was 18. That was all I've done. The fitness thing was one thing, and then I rode a lot of bikes, and then because I rode a lot of bikes, I met people who also rode a lot of bikes, and that led me to training some pretty interesting people, some pretty incredible athletes, really.
We'll come on to the training bit in a minute, but just tell us about your riding background, because it sounds like you've got quite a varied background and a few bikes in the garage. Tell us about how you started off riding.
I was obsessed with bikes as a little boy, really. My dad had a bike. The first bike he had was like a fake Harley thing, a Suzuki Intruder. I think I'd have been about 9. To me, it was like the coolest thing ever. It was black and it was chrome and we went on the back of it places. It was awesome. And then he swapped that for a Honda Blackbird. And then I got a job working in Matlock Bath, which is like 20 minutes from me, pot washing. So every day I'd be at work and looking outside the window at all the bikes piling up outside the calf all the way down the front at Matlock Bath. And I just became obsessed. So I bought my first bike when I was 14. It was a Yamaha DT125, like trail bike thing. I couldn't ride it, fell off, smashed all my shin in, just riding around fields and stuff like kids do. I did my bike license when I was 18, 21 years ago. And I've had bikes ever since, all sorts of stuff.
Do you compete now? Do you do trials or enduro racing at all?
I had a spat doing enduro for a while. really enjoyed that, but weirdly wasn't riding enough, so wasn't bike fit enough, so I'd crash my brains out all the time. And then I had my first little boy, that was 5 years ago, got fed up of crashing my brains out and having all that sort of responsibilities, so I had a bit of time off the enduro, then got into trials because I completely missed competitive side and the off-road side of biking. Thought trials was the perfect thing really, because less risk of injury but super skill based, and I thought that it'd cross over well into anything, so that's where I got into the trial stuff. So yeah, my thing now is trials, trail riding, enduro, and hopefully this year going to do some rounds of the British Rally Championship. That's kind of my biking goals. I've got a trials bike, I've got a FE 350 Husky that I've like rallied up, and then I've got a big GS 1200 rally.
Perfect garage almost, isn't it?
It is, yeah, but the GS is going.
Oh, is it going to get replaced or?
It is going to get replaced. I don't know how you'll feel about this, actually. I'm selling the bike to fund a bit of a camper van project.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I didn't know where you'd sit on that fence. I'm going to fund a camper van project for me and the family to get away, but don't worry, there's going to be a garage in the back, so it'll hopefully enable me to travel further afield with my bikes to compete and do a bit more. So the GS is awesome, absolutely amazing, but I just don't ride it. You know, I think I last rode it in July last year, because if you get a bit of free time, I've got 2 kids now, if I get a bit of free time, I'm going out on the trail bike or I'm going trial riding. You can't ride all 3, and it's just too much money sat there doing nothing, so I need to make it work for me.
If you've got youngsters, that's a great, relatively cheap way of going on holidays and doing trips, isn't it? So yeah, it makes absolute sense. It's pretty good round your way for both trials and trail riding, isn't it? You're next to the Peak District effectively, or in the Peak District even.
I'm right on the edge of it. I'd say like Matlock is kind of the gateway in, and I'm 20 minutes away. But yeah, it's perfect round us. Wherever there's lots of hills and lots of open space, I feel like that's the perfect place for us. Been lots of great riders producing around us. Mick Andrews, he was the best in the world in his day, trials, and that was just down the corner from us. He still lives there, to be fair. Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. And I rode around your way for the first time about a month ago, and I absolutely loved that. It was awesome.
I must have missed that invite.
I was on my own as well. I did the Icebreaker Challenge. I've done it 2 years in a row now. I really like it. Really cool thing. I just like it for that sort of gets you riding in places you would never normally ride. I wouldn't even know where to go. You know what it's like trying to find routes and find where you can and can't go. They take care of all that, so you just go, ride the road book, smash around. It's a bit competitive, which obviously stimulates me, and then I get to ride cool places.
So were you on the Husky or the GS for that?
That was Husky. I've never took the GS off-road. I've got the rally one because it looks cool, not because I want to go off-road with it. No way.
I've started doing a little bit more on my big bike. I'm actually quite enjoying it, because one thing that the heavier weight gives you is a little bit more stability, so you can roll over things a lot more easily. And as long as it's not too technical, in a way it's easier.
Really?
But then if something goes wrong, then it's like you're in all kinds of shit, because you can't put your leg out and stop yourself from falling off. Just got to let it fall.
I'm a bit of a tart with all of it though. Like, the GS is so pretty. I love it. It's immaculate. It's not got a mark on it. And the thought of dropping that and scratching it just fills me with dread. That's the biggest thing. I wouldn't mind riding it, but the thought of dropping it is just too much for me.
Got a 1050, and that's, what age is that? It's like 12 years old now. It's kind of lost its sheen, if you know what I mean. So I don't mind risking it a little bit. That said, if I do drop it, I'm fucked. Couldn't pick it up. We'll come on to training.
I was just about to say that. Well, I got an email pop up earlier off the website. It just sort of said, "Oh, you've had an order submitted." So I clicked down, saw the order, and it was a download from yourself about getting more mobile. So I thought, right, here we go. This is something we can work on here.
Absolutely. One of my first questions once we get into the fitness side of things is, certainly somebody at my age, I'm 61, and a lot of people that listen to this podcast are, 45 up to 70. So we are older people. I think one of the biggest problems that people like me have is mobility. Just getting your fucking leg over the bike, for one thing, especially when you've got a tall bike. Aches and pains afterwards. It was really interesting that the first thing I found on your website was a free download for a guide to motorcycling mobility. What does We Are Full Gas actually do?
I do one-to-one coaching for riders, and I also provide online coaching via ebooks. Soon to come will be a more personalised system for doing off-road through an app and things like that. But I've always been a personal trainer, like I said. My whole career's been doing that. But I got introduced to a motocross racer, a guy called Lewis Hall. He was a young lad and he'd won everything. But he needed, as he was getting into the pro ranks, to get fitter. So he came to me for some personal training. That was my first start in the whole bike fitness stuff. That rolled into training some more motocross racers. And then through my own riding, got to meet some trials riders. I got into more and more bespoke coaching just over time. So I thought to myself, well, I ought to use this really as a platform. I'm doing it under the guise of my own personal training business, but for this sort of thing, I think you need to be quite specific. So created Full Gas to sort of tackle that head on and show people exactly what they need to be doing really to ride a bike as well as they possibly can.
And you've been doing this stuff for about 15 years, as you say. You got a degree in...
Yeah, sports science, whatever you do, PE, GCSE PE. So yeah, I worked at a leisure centre when I was sort of like 16 to 21.
And you think that qualifies you?
Whoa. I saved many lives. So I did the whole lifeguarding thing. And then when I went to university to do degree PE, I got a job in the gym at the leisure centre. So I've never been out of a tracksuit really since I was 18. That was basically it. So I worked in the gym there, finished my degree, and then straight out of university, did the whole PT thing. And I still do. Love it.
Should tell us what your degree is in, really.
It's in sport and exercise science with a pathway into strength and conditioning, which is the specific side of coaching fitness, really. I wanted to get into sports team stuff. That was the original plan. I wanted to get in rugby. Never played rugby, but rugby is a really interesting sport to coach due to different positional stuff and the strength demands for different positions. But it was so hard to get into strength and conditioning within a sports team. Generally speaking, the managers of a team have their guys. So you need to get in with their guys. And then when they get sacked, you're all sacked. And then you all go to the next place.
What are the constituents of bike fitness? We've already talked about mobility. Presumably there's, the anaerobic stuff, which is running, swimming, cycling, and then presumably there's strength stuff as well. Are those the three pillars of what you need to do?
Mobility is a kind of a fundamental thing, especially for a motorcycle rider in any discipline, really, because you have to hold positions for long periods. You think about motocross and enduro, they talk about an attack position, where you have to hold strong posture for as long as possible through incredible terrain. So there's the elements of mobility to hold great posture. And then, as you said there's the aerobic side of things, aerobic and anaerobic. So aerobic means with oxygen, anaerobic means without oxygen. And you have to train both pathways because of the different demands that you're going to face when you're on a bike. And then the last one would be, conditioning, strength training. And that varies quite dramatically on who you're training and what discipline you want to do. The demands of a road racer are very different to that of a trials rider. You have to take them into account when you're planning out your sessions and planning who you're trying to appeal to and get the most out of.
Who tends to be the fittest of the racing or riding crew? Is it British Superbike guys, your enduro guys, or your motocross guys? I'm ignoring trials guys because that's just like golf on a motorbike.
Yeah. But I've got something on that as well for you. The fittest by a mile are the motocross racers.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
The nature of their sport demands that they are running exceptionally high heart rates for their entire race, really. We talk about heart rates in zones 1 to 5, 1 being chilling out, doing nothing, 5 being all you've got. And a motocross racer is spending the whole race in zone 4 and 5, using energy systems that don't last very long and are hard to recover from. If they're at a high level, they race a lot, they ride a lot, they're naturally going to become quite fit. And if they take it seriously, of the pros that I've worked with, and I've worked with like British Superbike riders and professional motocross racers, the motocross guys, they can hang on. They've got some big old engines and they can hang on for a long time. It's quite fun training and really trying to find out where they break. It takes a while.
Is it that the guys that have risen to the top, are they naturally very, very athletic, strong and fit anyway, or have they already been working on it, do you think? What I'm trying to say is, do you have to be a bit of an athlete anyway to be good at racing bikes?
We'll be back after a quick break.
Today's exciting episode is brought to you by Adventure Specs Super Shirt 2.0. 2.0? Yep, it's a new version. It's got the Flow armour, which is a lot more breathable, and yet it's still CE AA rated. So it gives you both impact protection and abrasion resistance.
It's an absolute game changer.
It is actually, because you completely forget you've got it on. The armour's really soft. I even find myself checking to see if I've actually remembered to put it on sometimes.
It still feels wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But it's the first thing I put on for all motorcycling activities, basically. I even wore it and you mocked me when we were doing some trials practice.
Thank God you were wearing it that day, because I don't think you'd be with us today if you hadn't been wearing it when you got on the trials bike.
It wasn't that bad. It's even been crash tested on an actual human, which I don't think any other garment has ever been tested that way.
They threw a man down a runway wearing one, didn't they?
It's actually quite scary to watch, but he came away unscathed, which is pretty good news.
What do you wear over the top of yours?
Well, you know I'm a bit of a hipster, so it's usually a check shirt and a very long beard.
Just something to hide the coffee stains.
Yes, the very rare blend espressos that I normally drink.
Nice.
So there are sizes for all from small to, I think, triple XL. It's quite stretchy as well, so it'll fit women and it fits fatties like me too. To get your super shirt, head to adventurespec.com.
I'm Austin Vince, and in 1995, me and some buddies set out to motorcycle around the world on a trip we called Mondo Enduro. We thought it would be terribly difficult, but it turned out it wasn't. Ultimately, we were the first group to trail ride across Siberia's Zilov Gap, and then also the first crew to ride the Road of Bones to Magadan. And we did it on second-hand 350cc trail bikes without the internet, mobile phones, or GPS. Motorcycling around the world was the defining experience of my life, and I knew I wanted to share that fun. So now I teach the DIY lo-fi Mondo ethos by taking people on miniature expeditions in the Spanish Pyrenees. If you think that sounds like fun, you'd be right. So come on.
You can find lots more information at austinvince.com.
Yeah, I would say so. It would be like saying your lad's a front row. No matter what he wants to do, he's not going to be as quick as the lads in the back because of the way his body shape is, his body type. And that's the same for riders and racers. If you look at nearly every road racer, well, let's say short circuit racer more than road racers. Every short circuit racer, they are small guys. And if they're tall, they're very, very lean because weight plays a massive part in how they're going to go fast. If they were built big, they would probably never make it to that top level, or they'd have to have dieted hard and worked really hard really early in their career to get there. Same going for motocross racers. You never see a big fat really fast boy. It just doesn't happen.
You might be looking at one now.
But there's a bit of genetics in there. Normally speaking, the motocross racers that are quick have been doing it from a schoolboy age, and if they've been doing it for that long, their whole summers are dominated by racing. They naturally become very race fit, and then it's only when they get into adults, when real life starts and people have to get jobs, that they then have to start thinking, shit, I can't ride like I used to ride. I can't do as much volume of work. So in an ideal world, you'd want people riding a bike 4 days a week with rest days in between, maybe a bit more. But as we get older, that can't happen. And that's where they have to switch into the gym. If they stand a chance of being quick, then they've got to be doing the accessory work off the bike, so that when they get on the bike, they can get the most out of it.
What would a program look like?
You would maybe have 2 days of cardio, one that was aimed at slower paced stuff, building your aerobic capacity, the ability for your body to transport oxygen around effectively. That's like one energy system. You'd probably do the second cardio day that would be more at the sharp end, working in that zone 4 and zone 5 stuff that we spoke about earlier. So that'd be 2 days of work, and then you'd probably split the other 2 sessions into 2 strength ones, maybe a lower and an upper, with some mobility sort of sprinkled into the end of those sessions. So it'd be around a 4-day-a-week strength and cardio one. And you might vary that depending on the time of the year. If it's mid-season, you can't be hammering people, so you might need to drop that volume down a little bit. If they're racing at a weekend, you've got to make sure you're conscious that you're not fatiguing them early so that it's not carrying on into the race. So it's a bit of considerations for close to racing, but I would say in the off-season particularly, probably 4 days a week, if not more, depending on how often you can ride your bike as well.
We spent a weekend with Graham Jarvis quite a few years ago now when he got into the extreme stuff. And he would basically alternate a day on the bike and a day doing something else. I don't know what his fitness regime was like, but it must be working for him because he's older gentleman now and he's still incredible.
It's absolutely amazing, really, to see what he's still capable of doing. That isn't normal. It's not normal at all. I can just think that He's kept up the volume and he's never dropped off the volume. That's my sort of looking from the outside in. Naturally, if people take time off the bike, it tends to catch up with him. And I don't think he ever has. Obviously, he came out of the trials thing, went into the hard enduro, pioneered that, just never stopped. That pays massive dividends. One of the biggest things in fitness is consistency. And if he's been able to ride his bike and get in the gym consistently for 20 years, then he's on to an absolute winner.
I'm clearly really unfit at the moment. I do know what it's like to be fit because I used to race bicycles on the road. So I was doing 300 miles a week training.
Wow.
Well, racing twice a week, training, at least three days as well. So 5 days on the bike. So I was properly fit. I know I'm not now. So I'm overweight and my fitness is really shit. But I can still go out on a day's trail riding or, I spent 5 days riding in Morocco. And whilst I was knackered, it's always felt to me is that because I'm half decent at riding a bike and I don't fall off anymore, you can get away with it. But I'm not competing, obviously. It's just, just dicking around on bikes. That was until we got into the dunes at Shebby. So if you fall off in the sand and you're on a slope and you try and pick your bike up, your feet just go back.
Just go away from you, yeah.
In the sand. But thankfully there were some young people there to help me. But I think having the bike skills definitely helps. And maybe over the years, I've built up a decent core for riding as well.
What you spoke about there, that's an energy system thing. Your bike riding over the years built a great aerobic capacity, really good at transporting oxygen. But as you've aged, your ability to generate quick and powerful force has diminished. And so when it comes to picking that bike up and it needs 30 seconds of balls out, let's give this some, you aren't very effective at using that energy system anymore. And so that's why it kill you to get that bike up, because it'd need power, high power for a longer period. I saw a really cool statistic the other day about cycling. Pogacar, the Tour de France.
Obviously massively into cycling. He's a fucking alien, isn't he?
Alien. He was talking about his training the other day and he talked about zone 2 training and he's referencing like heart rate zone 2. So they said, what's your zone 2 heart rate? And it was something like 145. If my heart rate was at 145, I would know about it. That's his easy pace. And what is your power output at that? And his power output was 350 watts. So to put that into perspective, I think I'm a pretty fit guy. I did a bit of cycling and I could hold like 250 watts for 20 minutes. 250 watts for 20 minutes. He's holding 350.
And he's at level 2.
Yeah, and by the way, my heart rate is like 180, holding that for extended periods. He's just cruising along at 350. It's a different level.
Talk a little bit more about the differing demands for a road rider versus an off-road rider.
If we're thinking like a short course British superbike racer, their sport's all about upper body strength as they're dealing with the forces of accelerating and decelerating. And then obviously through a corner, bang the power on. There's a lot of force demands on their body. And it's a lot on their core, sort of anti-rotational stuff, and into the upper body. The lower body is pretty inactive. So they need nice strong hips and stable hips, but that's about it. For those guys, we're going to look at making sure they're pretty strong upper body, really strong through the core, like I said, to stop them flexing under load. But we're really interested in making sure they're aerobically fit so they can make better decisions. Cognitive function goes down as our heart rate goes up. Those boys, the speed that they have to make decisions and their reaction times have to be absolutely on it. Their aerobic capacity's got to be very good. So you'll see a lot of road racers doing a lot of running, a lot of cycling. They're the two pathways they tend to stick with. And their strength doesn't need to be crazy high. It's just got to be repeatable. At the other end of the spectrum, motocross racer or hard enduro racer, they are getting banged all over the place. And their legs are their suspension. So their fitness demands are definitely from the ground up. So you're going to work on their leg strength, but ultimately their posture is the number one thing. Their posterior chain, all the muscles that affect their back really. So lower back, glutes, hamstrings, between the shoulder blades, all these things that tend to break down as you get fatigued. Obviously, we spoke earlier, their heart rates are really, really high as well. And they've got to be able to hold positions for a long time. The road racers is all upper body strength training, and the motocross racers is more lower body stuff and grip strength and endurance, because they're going to get arm pump pretty much immediately. There's not many racers who don't get arm pump. They've got to be fit.
Funnily enough, that's one of my questions. What is arm pump? Because I don't think I've ever had it.
You've never had it?
It's possibly because I have never tried that hard, but no, I don't think I have.
I can't believe that. Whoa, yeah, we've got to get you some arm pump. It's awesome. Nobody can overcome arm pump, really, or no one's managed to figure it out yet. Arm pump is like a short-term compartment syndrome of the muscles in your forearms.
So is it like a cramp or?
Yeah, it's just like a cramp. When you're going through really, really technical terrain and holding on really hard, we've got an energy system called an ATP PC energy system. Lasts for about 10 seconds. It's free energy. It comes, but after 10 seconds, it's gone. And it takes about 3 minutes to fully replenish. If you're doing that over and over and over again, using those muscles in the forearms, they never ever get adequate time to recover. So we get a build-up of what we call lactate. So we get this lactic acid build-up as we're producing glycogen in the muscles to try and make them work for us. It never gets a chance to clear. So it just comes and comes and comes and comes. And then you get this like small compartment syndrome where that muscle can no longer function. It's full of lactate and it can't get off. People tend to talk about position. If you're in a bad position, say your too much weight is in your arms, you're going to hold on harder. So they're going to try and get your hips back, get a bit more weight into the legs, get the core driving the bike, not the arms driving the bike, to try and take the stress off the forearms. And then from my point of view, what I would get my athletes to do is get nice, strong, durable forearms with really good grip on both sides, not just gripping, but the other side as well. Think about gripping like if you had your palm towards you and you lift your fingers up towards your face. That would be the natural way to grip. And then we would want to work the other way, palm down, bringing it up, getting a nice equal strength in your forearms, working on your grip strength for a long period of time, and then getting that aerobic system up so we can replenish your body with fresh oxygenated blood. So I want your heart pumping lots of lovely blood to flush out that lactate and keep them as fresh as possible. It's nasty. I had it at the first race I ever did. I thought to myself, I'm going to sit back and let everyone go from me. I was nervous. So I let everyone go from me. I'm on the start line and then I'll just tag on behind and follow them around and just have a good day out. And then I sat there, fired it up, shot into the first corner and I was fucking second into the corner. I thought, oh no, this is absolute disaster. This is not what I wanted to happen here. But then I've got all the lads behind me and I'm thinking, I can't slow down now. I've got to go. So I'm riding stiff as anything. I'm getting bashed around. I'm conscious of everyone. I'm riding like an idiot. I had to pull off after about 3 minutes. My arms had absolutely cooked. I couldn't grip on anymore. And when I say I couldn't grip on, I mean my arms, I might as well chop my hands off. I couldn't do anything about it. That was the next 2 hours of racing my bike. I couldn't do a thing. Learn from that.
No, I don't think I've ever had it.
That's amazing.
I'm obviously some kind of superhuman.
I think you must be.
I get cramp a lot in my legs, certainly in my calves, my toes. More recently, I've actually started taking electrolytes now before I go out or after I've ridden because I got really bad cramp in my thighs, and that was the most painful thing I've ever had, I think.
You'd be well off doing the whole electrolytes during the day, during the ride, rather than waiting until after the event, keeping on top of it all the time. So nutrition's a big part of racing as well. And when we talk about energy systems, making sure we've got enough fuel and glycogen available for people to use. Just thinking back a little bit, with your cycling background and how much you used to do, that could actually be a real direct link to why you've never really suffered with arm pump too much. If you have got really good systems in place, that would make a big difference for you.
Had good systems in place.
Hey, it's genetics. It's still there. Buried, might be very deep, but they're there.
Yeah, very deep under layers and layers of fat, but there we go. What everybody really cares about who's listening to this podcast is they're all fat, they're all unfit, most of them are ugly. What should I start doing to improve? Most of us, we're not going to go out and win races. What we're interested in is probably just having more fun, being in better shape and enjoying the riding more. So like I said, I've just spent 5 days in Morocco, managed that, felt absolutely knackered after the second day. After that, started to feel better, really, kind of rode myself into it. But I'd love to go and do some long distance trials where you're doing, I don't know how long they last, but they're quite long days, aren't they? Where should we be starting? And what should we be doing?
I did think about this earlier before I came on, what will the listeners be looking for? If I was saying to you, right, Clive, it's go time. We're going to do 3 sessions a week. You're going to do one that's a dedicated cardio session, and it's going to last about 40 minutes to an hour, because I think people get a bit conscious that they need to do loads and loads and loads. But ultimately, if we're going to be consistent and get the most out of this, it's what you can do for the longest period of time. There's no good as trying to get you fit in 4 weeks. This is only worthwhile doing if you can commit to it long term. Makes some big differences. So we're going to keep it accessible, 40 minutes to 60 minutes, cardiovascular work and mobility work in one session. So that's going to be session 1 for you. That'll benefit everything. So if you're doing a long distance trial, it'll help you think for longer.
What cardiovascular stuff should I be doing? Because my knees are fucked as well, so I can't run anymore. Cycling, I can still cycle.
The modality used doesn't really matter. Whether you want to run, cycle, row, cross-train, whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. It's about the impact that we have on that heart. I would be saying to you, steady, and we use something called an RPE, rate of perceived exertion. So rather than me saying go to zone 2, I would say to you, Clive, work at a level 4 or 5. You should be able to have a conversation the whole time, just about elevating your heart rate enough to get things moving. That's like zone 2 training. I would be specifically saying, doesn't matter what you do, whether that be a circuit training, we go bike, rower, ski erg, bike, rower, ski erg. Ski erg's a really good piece of kit that's in a lot of gyms these days. As long as you go around those 3 things, keeping your heart rate at whatever it needs to be, zone 2, level 4, 5, I'm happy at that. That's really good. So that's session 1, super simple. And then I'll be doing a lot of work around your hips for the mobility side of things. In that guide that you downloaded, there's an endless amount of stretches you can do, and some people are going to be tighter in certain areas, but effectively for most people it's going to be working around your hips and lower back. And the reason they're so stiff is because we don't use them. Like you said, what do you do all day? You sit down, you're at a computer all day, and then every now and then you go out on your bike and you're expecting your body to do what you think it could do after doing fuck all for like how long? It's important that we get that body moving. Session 1 is 40 minutes of cardio. I can see you writing this down. This is like starting on Monday, is it?
Maybe.
So 40 minutes cardio session 1 with some mobility on the back end of it. And then second session is going to be a whole body session using some big muscle groups. We have different type of exercises that we categorize into strength stuff called compound exercises and isolation exercises. So compound exercises are just exercises that use more than one muscle group. If they're using more than one muscle group, they're using more than one joint. Think of a squat, think of a leg press, think of a press up, think of a pull up. These are using more than one joint, more than one muscle group. So we're going to start a session with some big muscle groups.
These things are all just body exercises without weights.
It completely depends. If you're doing it in a commercial gym, that's the ideal environment because everything's scalable a lot easier. So while someone might start with a bodyweight squat, they can then progress to a squat with a kettlebell, progress to a squat with a barbell, and we build it like that. Not to say that if you were at home, you couldn't do that by buying equipment, but generally speaking, you're going to be pretty limited at home. So gyms are the way to go, really, just because you can scale things up and there's so many more progressions you can make. You tend to send beginners in with machine work, not free weight work, because there's less control needed for the joints. If a joint's not done anything for a while, the muscles haven't done anything for a while, the central nervous system's not very good at recruiting them muscles and keeping you where they need to be. Tend to set people up on things like leg presses before you'd set them up on squats. Session 1 would be some big compound lower body movements, a couple of big compound upper body movements, a little bit of accessory work maybe around your arms to feel good, because we all want to feel a bit good and feel like our arms are working and looking good in a t-shirt. And then the last session would be a bit more specific work, a bit more isolated work, working around the hips, working around the knees with leg extensions, lunges, lateral raises, things like this to get the whole body. And the reason I like whole body training is because we can recover well from it. If I gave you a lower body workout and you went and did that tomorrow, you wouldn't be walking for a week. It'd be horrible for you. And if you're not walking for a week, how can you make progress? You can't get back to the gym very frequently if you're half disabled. By doing the whole body stuff, you get to get people working in an effective way, but they can also recover and then consistently work over time. I'd give that advice to anybody if you just wanted to improve your health generally, not just bike specific stuff. Work the big muscle groups, make sure you're working your knees, working your hips, working on your core. And when I say core, I don't mean abs. People get the two things mixed up, but crunches and stuff, don't even bother doing them. It's such a superficial thing. And if you think about the movement of a crunch, how often do you do that movement in life? How often do you bend from your head down to your toes with force? It's hardly ever.
I think I've managed to avoid doing crunches ever. So
any sit-ups and stuff, I wouldn't even bother, because that's not kind of fitness and strength you want. You want to do things like planks or holds. Have you heard of a farmer's carry or a suitcase carry? Have you heard of those?
Do you know, I watched a couple of your videos today and I saw what the suitcase carry was. Yeah, because I think you recommended 3 different exercises, one of which was a suitcase carry. Yeah, you're literally just walking along with a weight, aren't you?
Yeah, crazy, but that is what we want to do. So it would be holding a really heavy weight in one hand, and then you have to resist that force dragging you down to the floor, trying to hold good posture all the way up. If I'm holding weights in my left hand, my right hand's working, my right side, of my core is working really hard to stand me up and keep me up. And that's really interesting because it crosses over so much into the bike riding stuff. and into life, really. Yeah, we want lots of stuff that's going to stop us rotating. The second one was a Palloff press. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I did. You'd have to describe it, though.
Imagine you're standing next to a pole. That pole's got a band wrapped around it. You're going to stand to the side of it, in line with it, get into half a squat and extend your arms out in front of you, yeah. And that band is obviously going to be dragging you into the pole, and you're trying to pull out to hold that straight in front of you. Again, anti-rotation.
So you can download for free a mobility document which tells you what exercises to do.
Yeah.
And that's for free from your website, which is wearefullgas.co.uk.
That's the one, yeah. On Instagram, it's We Are Full Gas, and on the website is www.wearefullgas.co.uk. The free mobility guide in there, it's kind of a taster of what I'm about. I want to help people, ultimately. That's always been my thing. I was doing all this stuff before all the attention grabby Instagram shit. My thing has always been about helping people, and I do believe that mobility unlocks a lot for people, just gets people feeling a lot better. So that's like a gateway in. There's videos demonstrating every exercise as well. It's not like a list of words that you don't understand. You just click the link and there's a video of me on YouTube talking you through the exercise. So that's the mobility guide, and then there's other guides coming.
For a lot of people that I talk to and ride with, men and women of a certain age, like you say, it's like a gateway into getting better fitness, isn't it, really? Because that's where I'm really lacking these days, is mobility, flexibility. That's why I downloaded it.
Another big thing is if someone's just sat on the sofa and maybe they're not ready for a gym, they're not ready to do a big workout thing yet, the biggest thing you can do is get out and walk. Just go out and walk and get that heart rate elevated. You wouldn't believe how important I believe that is for people. There's no like specific thing. I know people get hung up on 10,000 steps a day. Just increase the amount you walk. Make that your starting thing. If you can get more mobile and get out walking more frequently, you're going to feel loads better. Absolute loads better. And then you can start working into the more specific fitness side of things. That's the way I would go. I built, again, like I said, I was thinking ahead about this sort of stuff. And so I started working on a plan for the website called Built for Adventure. I thought it would work quite well for your listeners, really, to sort of see what you should be doing. So it's a very simple plan. Starts really easy, builds up over 12 weeks, gets more progressive. And just like the Built for Mobility guide that I did, it talks you through the whole thing. It's as much as information as I can give you without being there hand-holding and doing all that sort of stuff. I'm hoping that can help people and get them in the right direction. Completely non-intimidating and something they can do at home or in a gym.
Sounds perfect. You mentioned nutrition. Now, when I was racing, I used to get up and God knows, I have no idea if this actually made any sense, but I would eat a bowl of pasta before I went to bed, and then I would get up so I could then eat another bowl of pasta 3 or 4 hours before the race started. So all that carbohydrate would turn into energy. So, as a 22-year-old, I was getting up at 3:30 in the morning to eat a big bowl of pasta. Things have changed since then. We understand things a little bit better now. And there are supplements, and there are, you can get drinks and stuff like that. So again, if I'm just going out for a day's trail riding, should I be eating a hearty breakfast or, a big tea the night before or just put something in my water?
A bit of all those things, if I'm honest. It depends how big the day is. If you're just going out for a chilled ride, that's one thing. But if you're going out on a big day and you genuinely want to feel good, then I would be having a pasta, rice, filled dish for evening meal the day before. And I wouldn't be having too many fatty foods, because fatty foods sort of slow down digestion. And we want all that pasta and the carbohydrates to be broken down into glycogen. Glycogen is just stored energy. We store it in our muscles, we store it in our liver, and then it's ready to use when we need it to power our adventures. I would be having that the night before. In the morning, I would be having porridge. Porridge is good because it breaks down over time. A bit of fruit in there, bit of honey. We have different types of carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. Simple ones break down quickly, sugary foods. Complex carbohydrates break down over time. So you're going to be fed so you're nice and readily available with the simple sugars, and then out riding, you're still digesting foods, you're storing glycogen, and then you can use that all day. But I would be having an intra-workout. When you talked about electrolytes are one thing. They're like salts that go into the water, so that as we sweat, which we're naturally going to do, we're all replenished and we're topped up. So again, cognitive function doesn't go down. We don't start losing concentration and wandering off. How many times do people do that when they fall off and they don't know why they fell off? They weren't thinking. They drifted off. Their mind had wandered. Things like electrolytes will genuinely make a difference to that. And the second part of the intra is the glycogen that you get. So they put things in like maltodextrin. It's just a carbohydrate that's soluble. Put those two things together and drink that all day, sip on it all the time. If I was getting one of my trials riders who were doing like a big day out on the bike, say they're doing the Scott trial or something like that, I'd be getting them to ingest like 50 grams, which is like a banana every hour. energy gel every hour, on the hour. You got to keep hammering it, because once the stored energy goes down, you're not getting it back. You have to stay ahead of the curve. Yeah, in your water pack, I'd be having an intra workout, not just water. Definitely I'd be having an intra. Plenty of coffee, bacon butties, they're good for middays, and that'll pretty much do you.
See, told you. Excellent bloke, excellent stuff. Oh, and by the way, before you come at me, I was joking about the trials thing being golf on motorbikes. In fact, one of the last times I spent some time riding my trials bike at trials day, I nearly vomited. I was so fucked. So, yeah, I take that back completely. Don't forget, go on to James's website, wearefullgas.co.uk, and download some of his plans and have a look what else he's doing. And also give him a nudge to get that Fitness for Adventure Bike Riders guide done. That would be ace. Right, that's it. See you later. Just a final word from one of our newest and dearest sponsors. If you've ever dreamt of riding across the vast desert plains, carving through remote mountain passes, or cresting cathedral dunes, Wilderness Wheels in Morocco makes it real. Based in Ouarzazate, they run fully guided off-road motorcycle adventures across the Sahara and Atlas Mountains. Complete with incredible food, welcoming accommodation, and decades of regional knowledge that make every day feel an unforgettable joy. And here's the big one. In March 2027, you can come ride Morocco with Clive, Noel, and possibly the new TAMP podcast co-host. A proper week of sand, stories, and spectacular riding with the TAMP podcast crew. Book your spot at wildernesswheels.com and come find the Morocco you've always been dreaming about. Thanks for listening. We really do appreciate it. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and if you really appreciate what we do, please consider supporting us on either Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee. Links are available on our website, tampodcast.com, where you can also go to our store, that's a shop in English, and buy some branded stuff. Please keep listening and, more importantly, spreading the word.